Hi everyone and welcome to another Flosstube video. This is Flosstube number 9 and it's going to be all about those stitch-alongs, those SALs. But first, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It warms my heart that you want to spend a little bit time with me. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I hope you like it and you want to stay. My name is Marika. I come from Stockholm, Sweden, where I live with my boyfriend and my 2 cats, and I love cross-stitching, and that is what this channel is mostly about. I do like other crafts, so sometimes they might come up, but we'll see. So before I start with the agenda and everything, just a quick note for the elephant in the room. I know I have a little bit of a bandage here. I had a little accident with my cat. One of his bigger tooth got stuck in my chin. He did not bite me, it was an accident. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the story time section, which is going to be towards the end of the video in case you are not interested in this. But with that said, let's jump into the agenda. So today's video, for cross-stitching, I have not done any fully finishes or finishes this week or this past 2 weeks. So we're gonna jump straight into works in progress. I do have a couple of new starts. I also have a teeny tiny little bit of haul. But I also want to share some knitting in this video. So again, after that is done, I'm going to talk about a fully finished project for knitting. I'm going to talk about a work in progress for knitting and some haul for knitting. And I'm going to end it all with the story time. And as usual, there will be timestamps in the description down below, or if you're on the computer, at least you can jump. I think also on the mobile phone you can jump in those sections below on the YouTube video. So if there is 1 or 2 sections that you're just not interested in, you can just jump between them. So yeah, let's jump into the work in progress. So the first work in progress is what I left you off with 2 weeks ago when I had my regular update video, and that is the Midnight Way by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I think I had started it with this bookstore, the Ghostwriters bookstore. I think it's so funny. I think I just had started the top. I have finished that part completely, and then I have gone on to also finish the whole Bromhilda and the Midnight Way sign. I still have a third left on this. However, the way I do Halloween is that I have a very short Halloween period where I craft Halloween. And this is mainly because even though I decorate for Halloween to a certain degree, a very small piece in my home, I don't celebrate Halloween. It's not part of the Swedish celebrations, has never been part of the Swedish celebration. I know growing up, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, there could be masquerade versions on the discotheques, is that the word? Dance places, I don't know. I'm old. I don't go to the pub anymore. They could have those kind of things. Some of the pubs kind of decorated just for the Halloween if it fell on a weekend. But we don't celebrate it. We don't go trick-or-treating or anything. So for me, I only do Halloween stitching in September, and now it's October, so this might go away completely. There's a chance I would pick it up towards the end of the month just to finish off the last piece, to have it finished and out. But otherwise, I'm gonna put it away and just concentrate more towards Christmas, because that's how I work. Anyhow, next work in progress, and that is the Under the Sea SAL. This piece, the part 7 was released the 23rd. I think the 23rd of September. But because I was working pretty hard on my Halloween piece and I wanted to come to a finish, I didn't pick this up until this week. And the part number 7 is this part, which is the otters, the coral fishes, the orange fishes, and the yellow fishes, and all of the little waves. So that is the piece. And if I hold it up like this, let's see, this is the full piece. How much I've done so far. It's 3 pieces left, so there will be a one end of September, end of November, and the end of December, and then this will be done. As I said, I think I said, it's a Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery stitch along, and it is stitched on, I have said 32 count before, but this might actually be 28 count linen, which I hand dyed myself. It's just kind of an experiment piece that I had. I wished I had chosen a darker fabric, but otherwise I really enjoy it. So let's jump in to the new starts. I have 2. So the first one is another sow, Nicole Spohr, who got me back into Flosstube and everything. She shared a couple, like a month or 2 ago, on her whole section this pattern of a kind of a chocolate recipe chalkboard kind of a pattern, and I loved it. I'm gonna put it over here so you can see it. It is gorgeous. And she decided to do a stitch along for that. Basically, she has gone in and she had divided it up into 6 different parts. It's going to be an 8-week stitch along where you do the 6 different parts. You have week 7 where you can caught up if you are falling behind, and then you have week 8 when she's doing her finish. I'm most likely not going to do the same finish as she is doing, but I am going to stitch along with this. The Welcome Autumn piece that I did a couple of weeks ago, or finished up a couple of weeks ago, was also stitch along, but I just couldn't get myself to stop, so I just finished it completely. And I feel I kind of lost out of the stitch along friendliness of it all, so this time I'm just gonna go like week for week as the sow is done. And this is what I've done so far. It is just the frame. Oh, it's just the frame. A couple of notes. This is my first time stitching on a very dark fabric. I am noticing that I have a slight unevenness sometimes in my stitches. It is more apparent on dark fabric than on light fabric. So just a note, you probably are doing a beautiful job. It's just, you can see it a little bit more up close. Further away, you don't see it at all. This one is doing the border. I usually don't start with my borders because I have a tendency to miscount my borders, but I kind of figured out a way to do it. And afterward I saw Nicole's video where she has another way to do it. I still think mine is better, but that is me, or mine fits me better. I'm not gonna say that hers isn't better. Hers is probably good for other people, not me. Mine fits me better. What I did was I actually stitched the inner border first, because it is just a stitch every 3rd stitch, which means you don't need to count as many when you are stitching. This, the way she does it, is basically just mark every 10 stitch by doing half stitches the whole way, but every 10 stitch she actually crosses them. If I would do that, I do think I would see where that stitch would be. I'm starting to figuring out different ways for me to work around that tension issue in my stitches. But yeah, that's why it wouldn't fit me. But I really like just counting the little ones. So yeah, that was the new start number 1. I have another new start, which is technically a continuation, but it is a new start in itself. It is the I forgot to tell you. I am super sorry. This is the second time. I'm not re-recording this. This pattern, or this project pattern, It is by Shannon Christine Designs. See, the Frosted Pumpkin Stitcher I remember, but this is a new to me designer, so do forget. But yeah, Shannon Christine Design. So let's get back to the other new start, and that is the Ginger Snap the Fox Snow Globe, and it is the Snow Globe collection by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It is stitched on paper and it is a stitch along, so they are releasing a new snow globe in this collection every month for 4 months, around like the 14th or 15th, so in the middle of the month. And this is how far I am. I started this yesterday, so I've been stitching quite a lot. I would say this piece took me around 7 hours, maybe 6 to 7 hours, just this piece. And this piece I have stitched this morning. So yeah, that's the so far I am. I still have a little bit of blue here. There is a border around here in gray. I have all the white for the flakes and a little white on this little ginger man dude, and then I have the black, and then that is done. So it's almost done. It is a fun stitch, but it's a lot of stitches on paper, which also means that I need to hold it, so it's a little bit slower than I usually do, but it's coming along nicely. I'm actually really liking it. I was sitting here this morning and like, if I stitch very fast, I can finish this before I record. And then I realized that, nah, it's not gonna happen. Let's just not try to stress it, because the video would be recorded towards the end of the day. And I've been struggling a little bit with migraines lately, so evenings, not the best place to record. Anyhow, let's jump into the haul. So for the haul, I went to Italy last weekend, which I'm gonna deep dive more in, but I did visit a yarn store in Bologna, and I did pick up one thing for cross-stitching, and it is this Ito brand. It is a Japanese brand. It is a silk with stainless steel in it. I have been stitching on my Halloween project using the DMC E310, and it's like, I don't mind stitching with it, but I'm having to throw away this much of the thread. Like, I don't have long length. I stitch shorter lengths, but it's almost this much every time that I need to throw away, because it gets another, after stitching for a while, it kind of gets softer and it doesn't give the same texture like when you stitch with the rest of it. So that's a little bit sad. So I picked this up to kind of replace for anything glittery black that I'm going to use in the future. And it's like 246 meters on this. The threads is thin enough to basically, if I double it, it's about the same width as a DMC thread, just one strand. So it's just doubling up and you get 2 strands and it will work. So yeah, again, this is Ito Tetsu, 61% silk and 39% stainless steel. So yeah, that was all my haul when it comes to cross stitching. I have shopped a little bit, but those things will not arrive until maybe next week or the week after. But yeah, so that was also everything for my cross stitching. If you are only here for that, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please thumbs it up. If you have any comments, comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. But for you who are staying, let's jump over to wool content and knitting. So for my first knitting project, which is my fully finished project, I have made a cat hat. And it looks like this. It doesn't look... The problem is that if I do it like this, you will see better. Basically, I have sewn the ears. So when you put your head in it, this is a child hat, and you push it up, you will get little kitty ears. But when you lay it flat, it's just square. this is a combination of different things. In the end, I remade the whole pattern, and I'm not going to share the pattern because I got very, very disappointed when I started knitting it. Even though I was knitting on gauge, basically the correct number of stitches per inch, I still got a very, very teeny tiny hat. It didn't match up at all, and I actually recalculated the pattern, went in and like looked on the gauge versus the kind of sizing it was supposed to fit for, and yeah, didn't match up. Like the calculations was way off, inches off, which made me very disappointed because I buy pattern because it's easier. Like I can make my own patterns. It's not a big deal. I like stitching for fun, but I just didn't want to have to look up like sizes for different heads and stuff. And now I had to, and I have done that. So basically the pattern that I got is also like a version of the pussycat pattern or pussy pattern that was a part of the Women's March way back when. So I didn't really, it wasn't a very unique pattern. So the thing I did was I recalculated the full pattern. I added a much longer brim. So this is a 3-inch brim. This is for a child, and it's a child with a circumference of 18 inches, and so a smaller child. And with that 18 inches, I have then done 3 inches of rim and 6 inches of this. So about half of it I did this one, and then I took 3 inches off here that I just stitched straight, and then I did 3 different braids in the middle. And when it was done, I made these little ears. They are just simple triangles. I took 1 stitch and then I doubled that up, and then I just increased in those 2 all the way up until I had 12 stitches on the needle for both of them, sewed them on, sewed the little border here, and now I have a little baby hat. The yarn I'm using is Drops Air, which is this super, super fluffy yarn. It is alpaca, wool, and polyamide. So basically how it works, if you look at the yarn, it's like a little tube out of polyamide, like a little gridded tube. And then they have kind of mushed it in with alpaca and the wool combined. So yeah, it's not the funniest to stitch with, but it's super soft. So this is the first hat. So for my work in progress, I am using more of that Air. This is the gray version of the Drops Air yarn, and this is how far I have come. This is a teeny tinier hat. This is for a 2-year-old. This is for a 4 or 5-year-old. And I'm gonna do this in gray with pink ears. So that is the start of that. So it's basically the same hat. I'm gonna do 4 of them. So two for 2 girls and 2 for 2 boys. Yeah, that was my work in progress. It lives in this. This is a Lamb de Toes knitting bag. Lamb de Toes was a dyer that I bought a lot of dyed yarn from. I haven't seen her in a long, like she haven't been dyeing for a couple of years, I think. But when she was still active, I bought a bunch of bags from her and really like the size of this one. Actually, really like the size of it. And then we have our haul for this section, for the wool haul. So in Bologna, as I said, I went to a yarn store. The friend that I was visiting also know a girl who owns a yarn store in Bologna, and she opened it up for us so we could go shopping, and I ended up shopping a bit. And I might even need to actually purchase some more, because what I want to use the yarn for, it might not be enough. For one haul, which was actually not a haul, it was a little gift from my friend. This was not from that store, and that is this very, very lovely skein of wool. This is from Martens Art Kunterbund. It's a German yarn. I really, really like it. We'll see what I do with it, if I do a shawl or something. I have so many ideas right now when it comes to knitting. I will probably not knit that much because I'm still having some shoulder and elbow issues, but now I have yarn to dream about. I did pick up 2 other skeins at that store, and those are also German yarns, and the brand is called Walk. And I have Bel Air. These are singles, so basically it's not a multiple threads spun yarn together, it's just one. So I'm definitely going to do something like a shawl with it. So yes, this is the first one, Bel Air. And then I have another one because I'm all for fall right now, and that is called Hipster, which is lovely. Actually, I hope it shows up as it should on the in the camera, but I think it does. And the last thing, because we were in Italy and we were in an Italian store, and this girl, she is amazing. The store is called Wool Done, and she's so entrepreneurial. Not only does she have her own store, she also have her own yarn. So she have gotten yarn produced specific colors. And this is 75% wool, 25% Angora, and just look at that color. I picked up 6 balls of it. I might need to pick up a couple more, but yeah, look at that color. So the brand is called Le Wool Nocchiole. I don't know Italian, but yes, that was everything that I picked up when I was in Italy, and that is also all my haul. So if that was where you wanted to end, thank you so much for watching, and do all the YouTubey thing. But we are gonna jump into the next section, which is story time. So, story time. Let's start with what happened first, and that was Gizmo's little thing. So here's the thing. I have this lovely, beautiful 6 kilo, not overweight cat, who's partly a ragdoll, who never really grew up. Like, we love him to bits, but he kind of mentally stayed as a kitten. He behaves very much as a kitten. He needs extreme amounts of cuddles. He needs a lot of like holding him so that he can paw on you, or what it is, need you, that's the word, right? And so he's super adorable. However, just like a 3-year-old, sometimes he feels upset and he doesn't understand why he's upset. And there's things like when he's too tired, when he needs to go to sleep, but he can't find a good place to sleep. He can't find it in him to go to sleep. He gets crazy. It also happens when he has indigestion, so when his tummy hurts a little bit or something, he gets a little bit crazy. And usually he acts out, which means that he then acts towards Leia, attacks Leia. Not too wildly, but because he's so much bigger, he's 6 kilos and she's only 4.5, she feels very, very pushed, and it gets a kitty fight with everything, and it only happens like once a month or something, if even that. But when that happens, we usually take Gizmo and we place him in another room so that he understands that what he did was wrong, he shouldn't do it again. And it works most of the time. On Wednesday last week, or so basically 1.5 weeks ago, he didn't really calm down when he got in. And I didn't know it then, but I knew it afterwards, that the reason why he was upset was because his tummy was aching. So when he finally could go to the bathroom, he kind of got more stressed by sitting in the room on his own. Usually he just falls asleep and then everything is calm. But this time he didn't. He just got more upset. So when he came out, when I let him out, he just ran around like a maniac. And the best way to calm him down is basically just put him on the floor so he lies on his back, and then you hold him and you are calm. You don't scream at him, you don't tell him no, you just hold him in a fixed position, because when he gets that crazy, he might bite you. That's just a thing. So that was where I was going. When he ran out of the bedroom that we have where I had him, he ran up on the sofa and was all crazy. So I wanted to pick him up and put him on the floor because it's easier to just hold him there. When I did that, because he's a rag doll and when you pick him up, he gets all loosey-goosey, and at the same time he was all insane and was throwing things around and he was having his mouth open, and somehow he kind of moved himself in a way that his mouth came to my face and one of his teeth went straight in. Just one of his teeth. I have no bites, I have no sores, it's just one of the teeth. And to the degree that I had to carry him back to the sofa and put him down so I could kind of remove the tooth from my chin. The moment the tooth went in, he went completely still. He's like, that wasn't meant to happen. Oh gosh, what happened? I'm just gonna be completely still. This wasn't good. So I extradited him from me. I put him back in the bedroom so that I could take care of myself. I cleaned up the wound, I taped it over, and then I let him out and he ran to the bathroom immediately. And we haven't had any issue with him after that. Things happen, you know. We forget that they are not only these cozy furry things that are super cute, they are predatory animals, and sometimes that comes out in them. That's just how it is. After a little while, after everything, like after the adrenaline set and everything, I kind of started thinking maybe I should go and look at that wound again and make sure to see if I need some help. I was all alone at home when all of this came down, and I saw that this little wound here is actually, it looks very big. It didn't go through into the mouth, but it was pretty big. And I'm gonna need help to close it up because it's too much open. So I went to the ER, and they sent me to urgent care, and at urgent care they cleaned it, put a tape on it, because in Sweden we don't sew anything that is animal bites because of the bacteria that can be hidden inside of it. And then I got some antibiotics. So it was really good that I got there because I really needed the antibiotics, but it is healing fine. It is going back. And the next day at 2:30 in the morning, I sat myself into a cab and went to the airport and flew down to Italy. So yeah, it was a little bit scary, but it worked out good in the end. So that's my cat story and why I look like this, and hopefully I will get a scar. I just scar easily. I've been eating cortisone since 2013. It's part of that. I also have an autoimmune issue that makes my scars sometimes decide to go haywire, and I will not know if this is going to be one of those. So we'll see if this is going to be a white nice scar or if it's going to be a purple blemish in my face. I don't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I'm over 40 years old. I don't have to care anymore. But yes, trip to Italy. Let's jump into that instead. I went to Italy to visit a friend. About 5 years ago, I went, like 5 to 7 years ago, when I started with Flosstube the last time, or when I started with my vlogging and kind of sharing my cross stitching and automatically got a part of Flosstube and was never a Flosstube channel, I met a bunch of people online, and I ended up going on retreats online or in England and meeting those people in real life. And one of those people, or two of those people, was Denise and Orietta. Denise is a Canadian. She's super wonderful. She has children, lives in the forest. She's the best. And Orietta is Italian and lives a bit outside of Venice, basically. And 5 years ago, me and Denise went and visited Orietta. I stayed just for the weekend. I think just had one full day when we were in Venice, and then I went home. This time around, this trip has been moved once. I was supposed to travel in the end of July. However, there were a lot of strikes with the SAS, which is my preferred airline to fly with. And also it was really, really hot. It was like 40 degrees in Italy, and because of my lupus, heat isn't really working with me fully. Heat and sun. I can be in the sun somewhat, I have realized in the last year or so, but heat can be a little bit stressful. So we decided to move it, and we moved it now to the end of September. I flew down on Thursday, so that I landed on Thursday at 10:40. My flight has had a short stay in Copenhagen? Sorry, I have to translate that. We have another name for Copenhagen, Köpenhamn. Need to translate it in my head. But yeah, I went down to Copenhagen, stayed there for like an hour, and then I moved on to Venice. In Venice, Orietta's husband came and picked me up. He and me had a small little sightseeing. We went shopping for food, for groceries, because I have a lot of allergies, food allergies or food intolerances, so food has always been a little bit hard for me. So we went there to kind of pick up breakfast at least, because we knew that we were going to be out and about for lunch and mostly dinner. Then we went home to Orietta's and we had lunch, and then I sit and stitched while waiting for Orietta. Orietta had the day off on Friday, so on Friday we went into Bologna. Sadly, it was raining all day, but we also spent most of the day in the yarn store, so kind of weighed that up. So I didn't see a lot of Bologna, but I saw a bit of it, and the whole trip was more about having some time with Orietta. We haven't been able to chat that much. We both went into working like full time about the same time, and both of us had like not the time to communicate, so I thought it would be a really good time to actually catch up, and that we did. We talked 24/7 basically. It was a lot of fun. I had a super nice, really love the cappuccinos in Italy. The cappuccinos are the best. They are very potent. I had a period when I was talking very, very, very fast because I had so much caffeine in my blood. But yeah, they were super good. In Bologna, we went to a little fish restaurant. It's basically just like a restaurant inside of a like a fishery place. So you could go in and buy fish, and you could go and sit on the restaurant. And they had this like taster menu. So basically fish tapas. It was so good. It was so good. I was so happy. Loved the food. And it was so healthy food also at the same time. Super good. Then we had it back for dinner. We might have had pizzas. Yes, we had pizzas for dinners. We had a half pizza each. We had a fairly late tapas. We were fairly full from that, and I had never had proper Italian pizza, so we bought that, and I realized it's very similar to Swedish pizza. So now I know, and I don't have to worry. I shouldn't have pizza. Shouldn't have gluten, but I had to try it, you know. The next day we decided, which was Saturday, we decided to go on a small trip up a hill and back. There's so many hills that had churches on top, so we just went up there. We were just outside walking, and I think that was what, like, I get to see a little bit about it, and I did share it on my like more vlogging Instagram, which is the real life of me, where me is M-I, not M-E, and I took a bunch of photos. My idea was to vlog everything, and then when I started traveling to Italy, I just felt, nah, I'm not gonna do this. I was in pain from my wound. I had a much bigger bandage on my face. I was eating, I still eat the antibiotics. They intensify my migraines. So I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna enjoy my time. I'm not going to even try at the least with the camera. And well, we were walking up the hill and back, looking at it, had some more cappuccinos, and then we went to this like later lunch at this really nice restaurant close to them. I had no clue what the restaurant was called because I don't remember, but it was really good food. I had a tuna tartare as my appetizer, and then I had some steak as my dinner. It was so good. It was so good. I really enjoyed the food. I'm usually not a foodie, but this trip just tells me that I need to eat more fun stuff because that was so good. I enjoyed the company so much. It was great. We had maybe plans to go out in the afternoon. We never did. We just sat down. Both of us was kind of exhausted. So we just sat down. She knitted, I cross-stitched. And then on the Sunday I went home. A little thing did happen on the way down, or on the trip, and that was I forgot my iPad in the pocket in the plane to Venice. So from Copenhagen to Venice, when I left the plane, I had put my iPad in the pocket. I usually don't put things in the pocket. I did, and I just walked away from it, and I had so many emotions about this. The first was just, oh, what happened? Well, I need to call them. I don't know. Then I was sad because the games on it, I probably had lost progress. I didn't. And then I got sad because it's an expensive kind of tech, and like replacing it would be expensive. And then I found a formula online where I could, or on the website for the Venice airport, where I could just put all the information in, and a couple of hours later they returned me an email, said, hey, we have it, you can go and get it on the airport. So the day I went home, I first stopped by the Lost and Found and picked up my iPad, and I could fly out with my iPad, and I now have my iPad and it works, and I'm super happy. It was a little bit chaotic, like the whole trip, with having to take care of this and everything, but the core thing, having time with Orietta and having a lot of fun, that, yeah, it was a great trip. I got to see more of Italy, and I got to buy some yarn. I got to get back that love for knitting that I also have. So yeah, this was a great trip. But yeah, that is going to be all for me. So if you have seen it this long, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a pizza in the comments so that I know that you were here. Like if there's a pizza emoji, it should be a pizza emoji, right? Leave a pizza emoji in the comments, or any questions or comments that you want to. And if you want to see more like this and haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!